It's described as a narco state, where drug profits rule everything, where excess is now the norm. So how did Mexico turn into this? A place where government and civil society appear powerless against drug money, cartels, corruption and terrible violence committed on an almost daily basis. Mexico City, indeed the country, is in part staggeringly beautiful and at the same time awful. Affluence, poverty, ignorance, crime and charity rub shoulders. This country, bordering the United States and South America, has become a transit point for drugs across the world. The revenues are mind-blowing, billions of dollars every year. The demand for what it can deliver to affluent societies is insatiable. It is the root of the problem, of course, and widespread poverty combined with the need to make a living, the rotting foundations of a state teetering on the edge of disaster. Mexico is in trouble. It is failing. A black market culture where anything can be bought is all-pervading. Nobody is above this. Absolutely nobody. At the core of the smartest district in Mexico City is Tepito Market, the center of criminal activity. A trading point for guns, drugs, and every variant of goods. If you shop in this market, one of the most dangerous places in the city, you know you're buying goods of debatable legitimacy and contributing to an all-pervading lawlessness that seems like normal. And it does seem normal, except an outsider like me cannot walk around without protection, and you couldn't meet the people who live on the boundaries of normal society. A shadowy life of crime and killing, working to an illicit market that pays better than anything in ordinary life. Here the crime bosses run shops, a front for a whole life, lived in the shadows and sometimes the dance floor. This district worships the cartels who are destroying Mexico, shrines and murals to their memory. In the hood, they are kings and queens. A short distance away is the Church of the Dead, a strange mix of Catholicism and voodoo. They pray for future success and support from the fallen. They don't ask for salvation here. They ask for help to survive. Their offerings are alcohol and drugs. It's part of this culture. In a secret location, I was introduced to perhaps the baddest of the bad. A gun for hire. A killer, an assassin with the best part of 1,000 kills over a 25-year career. This is Carlos. He works for cartels and politicians, the asset that makes things happen to those who oppose the law of the crime classes. This interview was an education. I've never knowingly met anyone quite like this before. I like this man, but he is utterly without salvation. He kills to order and in a style of the client's choosing.
Una pistola de preferencia, una 380 porque son cortitas y son ligeras y son precisas. Sí. Pero luego hay veces que la gente, por decir así, el que manda a hacer el trabajo dice, no, yo quiero que la metralla en su cara o que le corten un brazo o que le dejen el cuchillo enterrado o así, cualquier cosa. Según es como la gente quiera, ellos dicen. Entonces tienen que hacer como ellos lo piden. Si no, también hay problemas, porque tienen que ser como ellos quieren.
He's skeptical that the cartels can ever be overcome. Mexico, he says, is corrupt from top to bottom. Cartels, politicians, the security forces, all complicit in a culture of crime going back decades.
Does he think it's impossible to beat the cartels?
Sí, le voy a platicar una ocasión, en Reino Aventura, yo era militar. Venía una marcha cerraron la entrada, dejaron que pasaran, cerraron la entrada, cerraron la salida y en medio los mataron a todos. Llegaron, los recogieron en un camión del ejército, pasaron esas máquinas que lavan los pisos y abrieron la carretera y ya, no pasó nada.
Wow. And how many people died in that one attack?
Como unas 35, 40 personas. Pero es como llegamos y se mató a toda la gente, se aventaron en camiones y nadie supo.
The abduction and probable murder of 43 students in September has shocked Mexico into confronting its drug-related crime problems. Carlos, himself kidnapped some years ago, a double cross that cost him 3 knuckles sent to his family through the post, has no doubt about their fate.
Does he think that they will be disappeared forever?
No, ya están muertos. Ya están muertos porque no les conviene tenerlos secuestrados. Ellos ya están muertos, ya están enterrados en cualquier lado. No les conviene tenerlos vivos. Como decimos acá, sale más barato matarlos que secuestrarlos. Imagínense, por un secuestro son 160 años que están poniendo ahorita. Y por un asesinato son 35 años. Es mucha la diferencia, ¿no cree?
The cartels run everything. Tepito Market is considered a free zone where deals can happen without a gang war taking place. But it isn't really that free. After our first visit, we were sent a clear message to stay away. So we're coming to film one of the gangs that sell weapons in Mexico City to the cartels and to pretty much anyone who wants them. We have to go back into Tepito Market, which is, the cartels have already told us they don't want us to come back and film again, but there's been some negotiation and it seems now that it's okay, but it's slightly unnerving having to go back when they've already given us the warning not to come back. But let's see how it goes. We wanted to meet the gangs that provide the muscle that make things happen. It has to be guns. The only law enforcement that carries weight around here. After endless discussion, permission was granted. The Tepito gun gang came out of the shadows. A spotlight shone on the life, culture, and thinking of here.
This one right here, it's a 9mm, 10 bullets. This gun has a cost of 10,000 pesos here at Tepito. I have all these guns. We can find with me all these guns, all this type of guns. We have the large guns, the big guns, you know. This is a simple one, you know. 9mm, but I have the other guns here. 6 hours, 32 revolvers, and we can find these bigger ones, you know.
Okay.
We have this too, we can find that too.
And the AK-47, which is used by gangs all the time.
Yeah, that's what the cartels use. All these guys come to here because they know we can get a gun here. They know we can sell a gun here. Because over there in Tamaulipas, the only people who run the guns is the cartel from over there. And in Sinaloa is the same, Jalisco the same, Michoacán is the same. But here at Tepito is like a free zone, you know?
Right.
That's why all these people come to here.
So the vigilantes, so you'll sell to the cartels, individual gang members, or vigilantes?
Yeah.
Anyone?
Anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone. So like the black market, the black market for the guns is like free, you know? Like where we have a war, I know they over there is gonna need my business, you know? It's just like that. This is not like a big cartel, nothing like that. But we have powers too, you know? But we don't do the killing, the extortions, we don't do none of that. We just sell guns.
Right.
And that's it. Here in Mexico, you can do wherever you want, like working, you know? If you want to study something, you study. If you want to work, you work. If you want to do bad things, bad things. You want to become a narcotraficante, you become a narcotraficante.
If the institutions that are the bedrock of society are corrupted, if government, law and order and even national defence can't be trusted, Who can anyone turn to for help? Perhaps there is only one solution: yourself. To fight a gun, you need a gun, and in Mexico, there are plenty. Now, the Vigilante is born. It started as a street movement, not focusing on removing the cartels and their influence, but to stop the excesses of their low-level thugs who acted with impunity, terrorizing neighborhoods, murdering and raping. Many have returned from the United States to protect their home districts.
We just get tired and then we just get weapons and then we try to stop all this problem we have here.
And how successful are you being?
It's real good. It's really good. I mean, right now, I mean, you can walk this street, I mean, during the night without problems. Very good. I mean.
What, and a short while ago that was impossible, yeah?
It was. I mean, about 8 p.m. in the night, I mean, it was a big problem here. I mean, you can really go to the store, buy, groceries or something, because it was a big mess with the bad peoples.
They man checkpoints into their areas, looking for cartel gunmen and their weapons. They have morphed into a uniformed civilian police force, raising money to fund their work. Armed and determined, they are, of course, a visible sign that the state is failing its own people. The vigilantes are not necessarily the solution, but for now, they are all that the weakest have to protect them. Heavily armed federal police have been sent to Iguala to try and restore order. The town's entire police force is behind bars, accused of abducting 43 students and handing them over to a drug cartel. It's caused outrage. City Hall torched after a mass demonstration. There is seething anger here, and it's spreading across the country. The government isn't just under pressure to address the issue of widespread kidnappings and murder. It's fast turning into a political crisis.
Ellos luchan, hacen marcha en contra del movimiento. Es contradictorio, ¿no? Debemos.
Families of the so-called disappeared meet to organize another search for mass graves.
Para que se nos haga justicia, sino contra algunos.
Over 27,000 have disappeared, killed by drug cartel soldiers, corrupt police, and the military. More than 120,000 have died in the past decade. Vultures swoop over Mexico's killing hills. The families have already found 3 mass graves. They know they're in the right place. It's difficult to check their emotions. Previously exhumed graves pepper the mountainside, and the smell of death hangs in the air. They've forced the Attorney General to send a forensic team to the search. It's not long before he identifies another grave and declares it a crime scene. Later, they find bodies. A short distance away, they find another grave, but the officers want them to stop digging to allow the authorities to carry out the investigation. They aren't for stopping. This is a supercharged atmosphere, and there's years of anger.
Pero le digo, ustedes su trabajo, nosotros nuestro dolor.
No, claro, espéreme, nuestro trabajo.
Ustedes no sienten el dolor que no, para nada, joven. Usted acaba su turno y se va, tiene que ir. Nosotros nos podemos pasar aquí.
Si ya les dicen dejen ahí, lo dejan, porque ustedes no sienten si ahí está su familia.
Espero que tenga hijos, señorita, y sienta el dolor que siente una madre.
There is a hopelessness to all of this. The search for their lost relatives overwhelms their lives. They're the victims of a drug-fueled contagion crossing the globe, eating to every society. But this is the cutting edge. the bit where the littlest people are the victims. Mexico is like a funnel of drugs to Western society. Anyone blocking the funnel must be destroyed.
Mi hijo era un jovencito, tenía 26 años cuando a él se lo llevaron. Porque a las personas buenas les pasa esto y no a los delincuentes que andan haciendo males y no a ellos no les pasa nada.
In any war, the victims are more often than not the most innocent. Their surviving relatives are lining up to give blood for DNA testing. Most accept their family members are dead. They just want to find their bodies and bury them. There's such little trust for the government, an independent charity has been brought in to work alongside officials. It is needed to convince the families that the work is being done honestly and that they will eventually get the actual body back after a full investigation, not a body handed back just to close the case. The stories of the disappeared are all different. All society is linked by the involvement of crime gangs, law enforcement and the government, often working hand in hand. Susan is the wife of a senior police officer. He disappeared after a meeting with a cartel lieutenant. He was told his entire extended family would die if he failed to turn up. She and he knew they would never see each other again.
Yo le pedí, mi hija y yo, le pedimos que no acudiera a la cita, que preferiríamos optar por salir del país si así se pudiese. Él dijo que no, porque estaba identificada toda la familia, no nada más nosotras, sino en general la familia por parte mía, ¿no? Hermanos, madre, y que él preferiría dar su vida a cambio de mi familia. Él consideraba que era él el que debe despedirse, ¿no?, de la familia. Solamente pidió la bendición, se la dimos todos, a pesar de que le seguimos rogando. Se la dimos, le dijimos, estás a punto de arrepentirte antes de salir de la ciudad. No fue así.
Jorge Popoca is a political activist. He campaigns against corruption. In August, his wife and 3 children were abducted.
Sí, mira, el día 23 de agosto le llamaron a mi esposa que a mí me tenían secuestrado y que tenía que ir a dejar un dinero en un centro comercial de aquí de Iguala. Yo no estaba en casa en ese momento. Cuando yo llego a la casa, a mí me informan los trabajadores lo que había pasado, ¿no? Inmediatamente yo me fui a buscarla a ese centro comercial cuando nosotros ya no la encontramos. Posteriormente la anduvimos buscando en varios lugares. Cuando a mí a las 4 horas después, a mí me llaman diciendo que tenían a mi esposa y a mis hijos secuestrados. Entonces, pues sí, ahí empezó el tormento, ¿no? Y esperando las llamadas.
Every day since has been torture. His faith and the support of other victims keeps him going.
La fe, la esperanza, sí. Y sé que mi esposa sabe que yo la estoy buscando y yo sé que mi esposa está cuidando a mis niños donde quiera que estén, sí. Y créeme lo que hay mucha fe, tenemos mucha fuerza. Seguimos adelante y el dolor de esta familia, también de todas las que están aquí, nos hace también seguir adelante y ayudándolos también.
Few of the families expect to see any type of conviction or retribution through the Mexican justice system. Well, not the official one at least, because there is another, high into the Sierra Madre Mountains, deep into Vigilante territory. Even with Vigilante guides, our progress was slow, stopped by armed groups, sometimes turned around.
We have to go now. I'm sorry.
Our destination, a much rumoured but never before seen secret prison. We're the first outsiders allowed here. The inmates hang out of the barred windows of a converted municipal building. There's no proper court of law up here. They've just been taken off the streets by vigilantes, a clean-up operation as unique as it is illegal. Inside we meet Leonardo. He is 22. His small size and youthful looks hide an horrendous history of violence for the Knights Templar cartel. Leonardo has killed 19 people in the past 3 years.
Why did he do it?
Lo voy a contar. Pero la verdad, pues yo andaba con unas malas amistades. Ellos me obligaban a hacer cosas que no.
I've been in bad companions. I have bad friends, and they push me to do bad stuff.
Mm-hmm. And he was in part of a gang, yeah?
¿Tú eras miembro de alguna banda o...?
Sí.
How old were you?
Para que mentirles, cierto.
¿Perdón?
Para que mentirles, cierto, me agarraron con evidencia, con todo.
¿Con una pistola o...?
Droga, escopetas y unas otras armas.
The volume of his kills is astonishing, but perhaps the fact that he did it for no money whatsoever makes it even worse. His gang handlers gave him a simple choice: kill or be killed. The vigilante authorities say it's not unusual.
That does go to the point of this problem, is that people are killing for virtually nothing. Well, perhaps apart from staying alive.
Y ese es el punto, ¿no? Que en realidad la gente mata por nada, o a veces solamente por mantener su vida, ¿no?
Es más bien eso. O sea, muchos empiezan de esa manera y una vez que ya se terminan contaminándose, le puedo decir, ¿no? O sea, lo hacen ya por una manera natural.
These inmates aren't all cartel members, but they have been identified as antisocial troublemakers and criminals. An old man accused of cartel membership enjoys a weekly meal brought to him by his family before returning to his cell. Conditions for all the inmates are quite grim, although far better than a standard Mexican prison. That said, it is hardly a proper facility for rehabilitation or, for that matter, punishment. But the vigilantes believe that they will achieve more with these people away from a system that is almost completely corrupt. More though, it is their punishment. For the first time, they're in charge of the very people who have terrorized their communities. Now high in the mountains, where escape is virtually impossible, they're paying back those communities for their crimes. The cartels are far from beaten, of course. The criminal gangs will continue to operate, and there are thousands of people who continue their agonizing search for lost loved ones. But up here, where the vigilantes are strong, where the poor can do little to overcome the power of drug money, there is some peace. Federal law and order, tainted with corruption, has failed these people. This is their fight back.